So moved.
By Mr. Tomac, is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Conover, is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor to approve say aye.
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 Opposed? 5-0. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of July 9th, 2020?
So moved.
By Anna Conover, is there a second?
Second.
By Gary Tomac, is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? That's 5-0. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of July 21st, 2020?
So moved.
By Gary Tomac, second. By Anna Conover. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. Is there any changes to tonight's board agenda, Mr. Bailey?
Yes, sir. I have one change. Consent item, student support services, item number 27.10. That's 27.10. The uploaded general service agreement for Addiction Treatment Technologies, LLC, DBA, Care Solace, has been updated. Care Solace has added a $5 million general liability insurance cap to provide additional coverage to the district in the event of claim or damage. That's 27.10. I believe we have hard copies available should anyone want to see the contract. Thank you.
Okay, with that change, is there a motion to approve the agenda? By Mr. Tomac. Is there a second?
Second.
Anna Conover.
You know what, we're having a real hard time hearing you, Don. We are not hearing you on the line.
I'll use the microphone then. It was spaced away from me. I didn't even recognize that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, AT&T. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved, 5-0. Community staff student recognition, Mr. Bailey.
I have several items. Always a pleasure to recognize community staff and student. We have an image up on screen right now. I'll just jump to that. I've mentioned this in the past, but now it's official. Indio High School student Marilyn Gutierrez will have her rendition of American Gothic published in the Getty Museum's book titled Off the Walls. I think the issue is coming out in September. So again, this is her rendition of American Gothic, kind of cool. So also I want to recognize that the California PBIS Coalition recently recognized 31 of our schools for positive behavior interventions and supports. Additionally, I would like to recognize the Desert Sands Educational Foundation for their support of StreamYard, a live streaming studio, as we had to morph communication strategies to online during the pandemic. This platform has served us well in live engagements under the masterful guidance of Mr. Sean Webb, who's been hosting a lot of community engagements for us. Lastly, Indio High School was recently recognized with a silver medal for by Academics Innovation for their Career Choices program. And actually, that wasn't the last one. The next one actually has a video cue. As a result of the LED retrofit in the district, we've received a credit from Imperial Irrigation District, a pretty big credit of $61,932. It's going to be well received. The IID representative sent us a video because they could not personally attend tonight, so we'll see if our video will actually play.
Hi, I'm Marilyn DeVosca-Gilbert, Energy Manager for the Imperial Irrigation District. As your electric service provider, it is an honor to award the Desert Sands Unified School District this virtual check for $61,932 from IID's Custom Energy Solutions program. This program helps promote energy efficiency by offering financial incentives to the customers who install energy efficiency and integrate energy efficiency into the designs of the facilities. These funds help the school district complete an LED lighting retrofit project. These energy efficiency upgrades will help the school district save money by lowering energy consumption, which is approximately 1 million kilowatt hours per year in energy savings. We would also like to thank U.S. Energy Services for completing another successful project in our service territory. By increasing energy efficiency, these types of projects help promote the environment, save on our energy costs, and maintain the electrical grid, especially during these summer months. Thank you for your work, and we look forward for a continued partnership.
And I want to personally give a shout out to maintenance operations. That's a lot of light bulbs to change out in the district to the LED version. So kudos to them. Thank you.
Introduction of new or recently promoted employees. Dr. Salazar.
We have two of those tonight, two wonderful new employees here that I'm happy to introduce. Would Donnell Clemens please come up to the podium? Come on up, Mr. Clemens. I'll tell you a little bit about Mr. Clemens. He is one of our new school psychologists. Mr. Clemens holds a master's degree in school psychology, and he comes to Desert Sands with 9 years of school psychology experience, and most recently with San Bernardino City Unified School District. He began his career in education as a behavior specialist in Los Angeles at the Center for Behavior Education and Social Therapies. Mr. Clemens resides in the Coachella Valley with his wife and states that he is excited for the opportunity to be a part of the Desert Sands team, and we are just as excited and warmly welcome to have you here in the district with us. So congratulations on your new position in Desert Sands. And if you'd like to say a few words, you certainly may, or if you have anyone here you want to introduce, you can do that too.
Thank you, Dr. Salazar and members of the board. I really appreciate the opportunity to work in the school district. I look forward to working here for a long time. I'd like to introduce my wife, who's here with me today. She supported me through all my years of schooling and working over the last 10 years. So I really appreciate her and her support.
All right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. So welcome again. Thank you. I would also now like to ask Carrie Sperber to come forward. Carrie Sperber is the new principal at Page Middle School. Come on up, Mrs. Sperber. I'll be happy to tell everyone here a little bit about you and your background. Mrs. Sperber, our newly appointed principal at Colonel Mitchell Page Middle School, is a native of the Coachella Valley and a graduate of Palm Springs High School. She began her career in Desert Sands in 2006 as a special education teacher, working at Jefferson and Page Middle School. So you get to go back now and be the principal of the school you taught at. That's really cool. And she enjoyed the honor of being selected as a Teacher of the Year 3 times. Mrs. Sperber later worked as a middle school facilitator, then moved into the role of assistant principal at John Glenn Middle School 4 years ago. In collaboration with staff and community members, Mrs. Sperber assisted that school in receiving AVID certification, the Gold Ribbon Schools Award, and redesignation as a school to watch, as well as playing a key role in the International Baccalaureate accreditation and evaluation process. In 2018, she was appointed as our LCAP coordinator for Desert Sands, working with various stakeholders in the district and community. And as a parent of Desert Sands graduates, Mrs. Sperber also understands the value of school-to-home communication and the role the school system can play in supporting students who come from a variety of backgrounds. Being an enthusiastic supporter of the various sports and academic clubs that her own children participated in has provided her with an understanding of how important the role of the community is in student achievement and support. As she begins this new and exciting role as the principal of Page Middle School, Mrs. Sperber is wholeheartedly supported by her family, and I think she has some of them here tonight to support her in this recent appointment. And congratulations, Carrie.
Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you to the board and Superintendent Bailey for your confidence in me. I'm really looking forward to serving the staff and community, students and parents at our school at Page. And I just want to thank my husband for being here, huge supporter for me, Todd Sperber. So thank you.
You're welcome, and congratulations once again, Carrie.
Ms. Conover, would you like to address our new and recently promoted employees?
Congratulations and welcome to our district. Looking forward to working with you all, and I want to see great things. I know it's a difficult year to start a virtual, job, but good luck and thank you and welcome.
Mrs. Jonathan?
First of all, Donnell, welcome to the Coachella Valley. We're a lot better than San Bernardino because we don't get the air trapped in with the smog and everything. I'm sure you're going to love it out here. You've come to the right area and the right district, and welcome to the Desert Sands family. Carrie, native of the Coachella Valley, went to Palm Springs High School. You could have gone to Desert Sands, but we'll forgive you on that. Carrie, it's been a joy watching you grow in our district and seeing you at John Glenn and then the LCAP coordinator. I think that Paige is so lucky to have you as their new principal. I'm looking forward to seeing everything you're going to be able to do with that school, and I'm just excited. And Todd Berber, thank you very much for giving us your wife to be our principal, because as you know, it takes a lot of dedication and hours, and we just want you to know that we appreciate you lending your wife to us. So again, congratulations.
Mr. Tomac?
Thank you very much. Mr. Clements, welcome to the district, and as a longtime board member here, there's nothing I like better than to steal a good, highly qualified player from a nearby district. I think that is just marvelous, because you're going to be joining a great team here of wonderful administrations over the years. They're the cream of the crop, and welcome aboard. And Ms. Berber, it has been a real treat to watch your career advance for all the years that I've known you here in Desert Sands. So congratulations on the new job at Page. It's a wonderful school, and well, you'll have a great time over there. Looking forward to it.
I'll call me next. Mr. Clements, welcome to the district. At Desert Sands, we try to give our employees the best possible support so you can succeed in helping our students. This is going to be an extremely unique year, and your services will probably be required more than usual. And we're happy to have you, and we hope that you are happy to be here with us. I'd like to say to your wife, congratulations. Also, it's always nice to have a supportive spouse when you're starting on an endeavor. Carrie Sperber, congratulations. As everybody said, everybody's watched you kind of come up the ranks here in the last couple of years. Good luck. I think Mitchell Page is our only middle school that feeds all 4 high schools. And so that's a unique, I mean, we have some middle schools that only feed 1, some feed 2, I think 1 or 2 or 3, and then Mitchell Page feeds 4. So you'll have all those different dynamics going. And I mean, when your students promote from 8th grade, I mean, you're really setting them out to the 4 winds, and they'll be dispersed all over. To your husband, I wish you would have brought your brother Ben, who I spent a lot of time coaching with back in the early 2000s with his son Mike and my son. We spent a lot of time together, so glad to see you here. Linda, would you like to make any comments?
Yes. Mr. Clements, welcome, and I'm so excited for you to join our family, and it was so nice for you to recognize your wife for all of her support for all of the years of schooling. My daughter's in school as a social worker, and she's taking the tests and everything. Is crazy time, so that's awesome that you have that support. It's so important. But welcome to Desert Sands, and I'm sure you're going to do an excellent job. Carrie, I'm so excited for you. We've known each other for a long time, and you are just exceptional and outstanding in all that you do. And I look forward to you leading Colonel Mitchell Page, and I think you're going to do an excellent job. And I know that you have the support and love of your family, which is so important. So I'm just so proud and so excited for you. So can't wait to get over there and see you when I can, when all of this COVID stuff gets a little bit more under control. So anyway, congratulations.
All right, now moving along to information items, we have 2 information items. We have the Head Start program report for June 2020, and we have a revised exhibit for the student use of technology. There are no staff conference items. Public hearing. Oh, we don't have it. That's why there's nothing there. Okay, discussion, COVID-19 response. Mr. Bailey.
Yes, as far as general updates, there really aren't any. The county remains on the public health monitoring list. And as you know, that determines a lack of opportunity to come back for in-person instruction. So we launch tomorrow in full distance learning, as does, I believe, 96 or 97% of all students in California. So big day tomorrow. I will defer to my assistant superintendents within their specific areas of responsibility, beginning with Mr. Aquino to give updates from their divisions. Mr. Aquino.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent Bailey. Just an update on our GEO bonds with Measure KK. Tomorrow morning at 6:30, the district's going to be entering the market to sell the remaining $50 million of bonds authorized by Measure KK. Now, this $50 million sale will complete the total $225 million of debt that local taxpayers approved back in 2014. We are capitalizing on historic low interest rates in the municipal market by moving forward right now. Last week was the lowest that interest rates have been in the last 20 years, with a minor uptick this week. So we couldn't have timed this out any better than right now. This $50 million bond issue also comes on the heels of the district just receiving stellar credit ratings with Moody's and S&P of AA2 and AA, respectively. Basically what that means is that we are of high quality and low credit risk. We will use the bond to modernize, the $50 million bond to modernize 3 elementary schools that the board has already identified through its plan back when the bond was approved, and that's for Truman, Carter, and Adams. This bond is coming at a true interest cost to borrow of 2.17% with a 24-year term payback. So ultimately, the board will accomplish its goals of delivering school facilities funding at an extremely low cost of borrowing. So that is great news for low interest to our taxpayers. In responses to our response to COVID, I'd like to give a big shout out to our warehouse staff. They have coordinated the delivery of PPE, hand sanitizers, and cameras to all school sites in a short time frame. All staff should be equipped with face cover, face shield if that applies to them in their position, and enough hand sanitizer was provided throughout the district. Now, even with a high demand, our purchasing was able to acquire hand sanitizers for every classroom, and that's in addition to the dispensers that were also going to be provided. I'd like to give also a big shout out and thanks to food services who worked all summer long to provide meals to the community. And now they're going to continue that effort with grab and go meals at all the school sites. So we've provided notification to all of our parents. And because we are officially now in session, we have to adhere to the strict guidelines through the National School Lunch Program. And that is, we are going to have to verify who the students are that the meals are for. So staff at the schools will have to go through a roster and verify who the student is that they're collecting meals. So that also means that families who are eligible for free meals will get their meals for free. And for those families who do not qualify for free meals will have their accounts charged. Now, due to recent local economics, we submitted an application to the state to transform 7 additional schools to what's called community eligible. Now, that's going to allow everyone at those schools, all the kids at those schools, to qualify for free meals. And that's pending approval from the state, and that will ultimately bring half of our district schools that qualify for free meals. So that's going to be a good thing. It's going to lessen the burden on parents. Our grounds and maintenance custodial crews continue to provide for clean and well-maintained facilities. Now, those ladies and gentlemen have been working round the clock since our schools have closed. I'd like to also give a big thanks and shout out to our impact team. Now, we refocused their effort to mitigate the impact of COVID-19. And they've installed safety screens in all high traffic areas where staff meet with students and parents. They've installed the hand sanitizer dispensers that we received for classrooms that do not have sinks. Now, there's about 350 that are on back order right now that we will be getting in the middle of September. And once we receive those will be installed. But in the meantime, all those classrooms, in addition to supplying hand sanitizer for all staff in classrooms, we have also given them an 7 or 6 ounce hand sanitizer in addition to the one that they have for themselves. Our security team also, as you guys know, has been there every step of the way. They've been there during meal distribution, and they're also attending to increased activity at schools since they've been unoccupied. So they haven't skipped a beat. In addition to security and patrol being at every school site, we're reallocating the security and patrol for one per elementary, middle, and high school while we operate exclusively under the distance learning. And they're going to basically help with moderate our office visitors. They're going to enforce social distancing and basically provide a feeling of safety for our office staff as they return to some sort of normalcy. So I might be leaving a bunch out. I mean, there's a lot of work that's being done. Our graphics team provided support in many ways that I probably can't even go through the list of things that they've provided. Safety, office signage, I can't talk tonight. Floor markings for social distancing, and printing for instructional curriculum, and many things. Our risk management, purchasing facilities, fiscal services staff, particularly with payroll, ensuring that people are paid. They've been coming to work since school has been closed, district was closed, and everyone involved in closing the books. So if I left anyone out, I apologize on the business services side, but we've been working around the clock to try to ensure the safety of our staff and successful school year. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Aquino. I'll now go to Education Services. Dr. Kelly Mae Vollmer.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see all of you. As Mr. Bailey mentioned, school does start tomorrow, and we are so proud of our entire community and all the work that has gone into really gearing up for the start of a very different school year than what we're accustomed to. I know parents and students have been working hard to get ready, whether that's picking up supplies or setting up stations in their homes for students to learn. In addition to that, our staff has been preparing as well. And so in educational services, we spent all of last week really providing one of the most robust professional development calendars that we've ever had in Desert Sands. And so with right around 4,000 registrants for different sessions, 4,000 in a week, which is amazing, we provided distance learning sessions on things like Playbook, Google Classroom, Seesaw, Zoom. We also had about 750 people register for iReady trainings so that they would be ready to start the school year. And we even had more iReady trainings taking place yesterday and today, gearing up for the start of school. In addition to that, we had biology teachers trained on a new textbook, teachers trained on ST Math, our middle school teachers participating in English language development training, and we worked with personnel on 3 full days of new teacher orientation training. So it was a very, very busy week for our educators in Desert Sands last week. And I think really it speaks volumes about the educators that we have in Desert Sands when you look at everything that was planned, everything that was taught, all the people that attended the trainings, all of that before they were even scheduled to come back to work. And so I'm so proud of the educators that we work with. And I also want to give a shout out to the project facilitators and also teams of teachers from all over Desert Sands that really worked parts of and most of them the entire summer to create training materials, to create distance learning ready lessons and resources that could be used during this time by parents and by teachers. So very, very proud of them. We also, in addition to the trainings that I mentioned, assisted personnel today with training 90 of our substitute teachers so they would be ready to participate in a distance learning environment as well. And then one thing that's really exciting during this time, I know COVID-19 is not something that any of us are excited about, but one of the things that I think is a silver lining is this is really given us the opportunity to reach out in ways that we never have before in working with our parents and with our community. And so we have created an ongoing series of parent training sessions. And we had the first of those sessions last week. We've entitled them Going the Distance. And Mr. Bailey mentioned Sean Webb doing the StreamYard. He definitely helped with the Going the Distance presentation and helped make it really great, along with teachers and academic coaches and project facilitators from all over the district. And we had live that night, I think close to about 3,000 views that night live. But since that time, we've had over 11,000 views of that parent training. So we're really, really excited. We're planning another parent training for next Thursday. And we'll be addressing some lingering questions and also training our parents how to use the different platforms that are being used in the classroom so that they can really support their students that are in that classroom at their house. We also, one of the things we're excited about, we created some training documents on how to get into Google Classroom, how to get into Seesaw, how to log on, and we've shared those with local childcare providers so that when our students are in childcare, those providers are able to help them log on and attend their sessions with their teachers. So in addition to professional development, our tech department has been working incredibly hard to support staffs and families and students. We've created 2 different tech helplines. One is specifically devoted to staff members, and then one that staff members and parents and students can access. And they can get that tech help either by filling out a Google form to get help later, or if it's more immediate, they have a phone number that they can call and receive some assistance. And so all that information has been shared out with principals so they can disseminate that to staff members and our students and our families. Additionally, online registration, which is a digital registration, so not the traditional paper packets that we used to send home, launched for returning students yesterday, and that will be open until September 4th. And online registration really is that process where parents can electronically update their contact information, they can sign all the waivers and all the forms, and download copies of documents that are included in our annual back-to-school registration process. In regards to getting ready for school to start, when we're talking about devices and connectivity, I mentioned earlier in one of our previous board meetings that we ordered new tablets so that we could provide devices for our TK through 12th grade students. And so those devices have been delivered to sites, as have MiFi devices for distribution. And in addition to that, this past week, in order to help our paraeducators successfully get online and distance learning and support students, we sent out tablets to all of the school sites for the paraeducators to be able to use and get into those classrooms. And then just finally, I mentioned at our last board meeting about our English language proficiency testing. That's our LPAC testing for our English language learners. So right after that board meeting, receiving information from the state, we are transitioning our fall LPAC testing to a remote testing environment. So we will not be doing those face-to-face in a one-on-one setting. They'll be done remotely. And our assessment coordinator, Lee Baird, and her team will be conducting 4 training sessions over the next week to train all of our coordinators and examiners so that we can make this happen in a distance format. And that's the update from Educational Services. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vollmer. Up next is Laura Fisher, Student Support Services.
Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I'm happy to be back. Virtually for a while, but feeling good and glad to be back. Actually been working for the last couple of weeks virtually with my team, so it's been awesome. I want to do a shout out for my division because they absolutely kept things running while I was out, and they got a lot of really good work accomplished, particularly in this challenging time, and we have so much to do, so I so appreciated them. The first item that was completed mainly through CWA, and I want to shout out with Kathy Bennett and the technology team because they worked in collaboration, is our distance learning attendance and alternate participation. which is an important part, as we know, with SB 98. And how we take attendance during distance learning is different than our normal attendance. And so we really had the opportunity, which was nice because we're one of the later districts to start school, to borrow and look and see how other districts were doing it, because it came to us as a requirement through SB 98, but not a lot of guidance with it. And so we really wanted to see what was working and not working in other districts as we put ours together. So knowing that, and with the great work with technology, we really came up with a system for teachers that is very user-friendly. It does have some additional pieces, but we really were able to get to the point that it's very automated as much as it can be. As we know with attendance, we hope and promote for all kids to participate in the live classes, just like they would coming to school. But we also know that there's different ways, and the state wanted to make sure that we counted other ways of counting students present, which could be if they turned in an assignment, or if parents called and said they were having technical difficulties, or if they later on had a one-to-one conversation with the teacher, either through a phone or whatever that may be, that we would go through, and once we counted that child absent, per se, if they didn't participate in the class, there's a drop down for the teachers to go through and later see, oh my gosh, this student turned something in, or I had a conversation with them, and that would turn around and count that child absent. The whole key with this is making sure that we are engaging the students, making sure that they're engaged in participating in school, just like we would if we were in a brick and mortar environment. So those directions went out to principals and teachers yesterday and today, to make sure that that's in place starting tomorrow. The second piece we had is our district learning re-engagement plan, which was another requirement of SB 98, again, to ensure that we didn't have students falling through the cracks. If we had a student not participating, that we made sure that there was a re-engagement plan for the family, and reaching out to see what the issues may be to ensure that student was participating in school. So we have, again, a stepped process, tiered process of what that looks like, starting with the first 3 days that a child may not be attending, and what would happen with that, and what calls would be made. And one of the things that we're doing during our distance learning time is we have, paraeducators that may or may not be working in their normal position, if they're a one-to-one or something like that. And so we'll be training them to be helping their school sites out with calling parents and participating in that tiered engagement during distance learning. So it really works out well that everyone will have something to do within their job, and it helps us make sure that our tiered re-engagement plan is in force, and that we are re-engaging students and families to ensure that they are here for the instruction. The other piece that my division's been working on, and I think I put it in the Friday letter, is our SEL lessons, our social emotional lessons, that we know how important mental health is going to be, and what our adults and children have been going through during this COVID pandemic. And so Sue Ann Block during the summer put about 8 weeks worth of daily lessons together for our elementary teachers, separate ones for middle school and separate ones for high school. So they're all appropriate for the age. And so the teachers already have those already written for them with videos and different things to show, short lessons, but so important that we do that every day with our kids. And then as teachers are noticing maybe some red flags with kids or something, then our counselors are also a part of the team on our school psychs and mental health to address those next levels of issues that our students, therefore families, may be encountering. We also will have Care Solace as we continue, and I bet contracts on the agenda this evening, that we will have that in place for either further referrals for families. So as I said, my staff worked unbelievably hard this summer and have really come up with some excellent supports for the district. Our special education department worked on assessments and IEPs that didn't get done over the summer. We had good parent participation with that, and actually some of the parents now kind of prefer virtual meetings like this, and they kind of would like to have that option continue even when we open. And We also have a protocol in place for psych assessments, so we can continue triennials and even initials if parents or teachers are referring students. And we have guidelines now and allowance to be able to do that in person. And thanks to Jordan's staff, we have the plexiglass cubicles to be able to do that upstairs at Deck North with all the PPE that's needed. So parents will have a choice of either totally in person or a combination of virtual or in person, or a waiver to wait until we get back into school for their assessments. But the nice thing is we have options. So that's great. Last night we did, as we were talking about with Sean Webb and his virtual events, that we did our special education moving forward last night. I do want to upfront apologize to our deaf parents, students, and community that we did not have the accessibility for them. I apologize for that, and we'll ensure that that doesn't happen again, and we will have that in place from now on. But what I had last night was a team of teachers, my new senior director of special education, and a parent. And it was really a great session. The teachers, I had a preschool and elementary and secondary representatives, and just hearing them talk about what they've already planned throughout the summer and where parents could go for help and the communication. I got lots of feedback from parents that were so glad to hear that and felt so reassured knowing that if these 3 teachers were examples, and I know they are, of what other special ed teachers have been doing, that it's going to be okay. We're going to have challenges and we're going to have bumps in the road. And we know that our students with disabilities have more challenges with this online learning, but our teachers are ready to support. We have our special education distance learning plans that each case manager will be contacting the parents within 2 weeks to go over that and how that addresses the IEP and what maybe needs to be revised. Maybe a child needs a little more of or a little less of in this distance learning environment. It's not a new IEP because when they come back, their current IEP is in place, but it's one that looks at the IEP to see how it can best fit in a distance learning environment. And actually our preschool team are calling those family support plans. So there's a lot of good things in place. Our parent that spoke is actually our CPAC president, Tammy Manini, and she did a great job talking about a parent perspective, and actually CPAC already has plans for their first event that will be surviving distance learning with your child, and they have some great speakers coming in on how to best work with your students in a distance learning. So it was very positive, and we kind of ended with patience and grace. If we can all just work together with patience and grace and know that as a community, as they say it takes to raise a child, that as we work together as a team, we will get through it, and soon we will all be back together. The other good news and I talked about it last night on the YouTube video, is Governor Newsom did announce last Friday that California schools will be able to bring small groups of students with disabilities and those with other acute needs into a person-to-person setting. And I know that made the parents very happy to hear that. We have to wait for guidance on how we will set that up. And then there obviously will need to be a negotiable item too with our staff. But we're really looking forward to be able to bring back our children that really do need that one-on-one person-to-person instruction. So we're looking forward to that. That's all.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Fisher. We'll now conclude with Dr. Donna Salazar from Personnel.
Well, good evening. Personnel Division's been just as busy as everyone else. The district representatives, so we've been meeting throughout the summer with both of our employee associations to negotiate agreements regarding the effects of reopening the schools on the working conditions of our employees. On tonight's agenda appears the recommendation for approval of the MOU with CSEA Chapter 106, which is pending ratification by their chapter, and that is scheduled to take place this Friday, the 21st. And also you'll see the MOU with DSTA, which has been ratified by their membership. While the MOU with CSEA covers impacts on working conditions during both the distance and hybrid learning models, the MOU with DSTA addresses impacts on working conditions during distance learning only. So So the district will be beginning negotiations soon again with DSTA on a second MOU that will address the additional impacts that may occur when we move into the hybrid learning model. And we just wrapped up last week's new teacher orientation, in which personnel coordinated efforts with other district divisions to provide comprehensive training and support for our 44 new certificated employees. And as Dr. Vollmer had mentioned, we have identified and prioritized a group of 90 guest teachers who have skills in educational technology for our first round of training for success in distance learning, and they will be ready to assist when needed in our virtual classrooms. And we will continue to identify and train additional guest teachers during the first few months of the school year. And that concludes my update.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll move on to public comment on open session items. Mr. Tomac.
Thank you very much. We have 2 speakers here today, and that'll be followed by 3 emails we received later today that I will read and keep them within the time limit allotted. Communications from the floor in accordance with the bylaws of the board. Time is reserved for oral communications by members of the Board of Education or by citizens present, and citizens wishing to be heard on agenda items shall have a 3-minute limit and should indicate their intention at this time. We'll begin with DSTA President Trina Gonzalez-Alessi, please.
Good evening, Cabinet and Board. My name is Trina Gonzalez-Alessi. I'm the DSTA President. On the eve of the new school year, you can only imagine the what-ifs that are going through every educator's mind tonight. Please know that our Desert Sands teachers are ready. They have spent the majority of their summer upgrading their technology, learning new platforms, attending webinars and online trainings, and curating resources to make their lessons as engaging as possible. As you know, we have a stellar educational faculty in Desert Sands. We will rise to the occasion and we will be as successful as possible. We are here for each other, we lift each other up, we support each other, we are united. We are concerned about the latest news from our governor regarding in-person services for students in especially vulnerable groups. We will need to work together to identify educators who are willing to offer those services with adequate resources and PPE. DSTA is looking forward to collaborating with the district to ensure that all employees and students are adhering to the strictest health and safety measures recommended by state and county public health officials. As Laura Fisher mentioned earlier, and I wrote this before she said it, in this unprecedented time, the words of the day are patience and grace. Teachers will need to extend patience and grace to their students. Parents will need to extend patience and grace to teachers. Administrators will need to extend patience and grace to teachers. No one has ever experienced this before in our lives. Every day is new. We may have a plan that looks perfect on paper, but when we try it, it does not go the way we planned. So we adjust and we try again. We will get through this together, and we will get through this with patience and grace. Thank you.
And second, speak is Partnership Specialist from the U.S. Department of Commerce and Census Bureau, Mr. Doug Hassett.
Good evening, everyone. Superintendent Bailey and honorable board members that are both present and non-present. Just wanted to attend this evening, watch the procedure, and I had just a general comment to make and then a question. I've been following some various threads online. Obviously, there's a lot of parents that are concerned how to start the year, wondering how things are actually going to play out. And I just wrote, we have an incredible number of hardworking parents in the district who are certainly going to be suffering and struggling while they figure out how to cope with distance learning and juggling their careers. Personally, I've certainly experienced some tough times in my life, and I can relate to the feelings that some parents must be dealing with. Let's hope certainly that the County Board of Health and others involved will allow us to go back to school quickly and safely. And then I had a question as well. In some of the threads I've been following online, I've seen several people talking about a DSUSD poll where they polled parents, and 60% of parents indicated they wanted to start school with in-class learning. So actually several questions. Whose poll was this? Are the results as indicated, 60% of parents? Did 100% of parents participate? And is the poll published where people can see it? And I can go over those individually if you'd like. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Mr. Hassett, thank you very much. I have 3 emailed comments for tonight. They're rather lengthy, but I will try to keep them, each one of them, within the 3-minute allotted. And all on the same item. They're on the ASL interpreter. First is Butch Vexler, wanted this one read aloud. There are so many comments I want to make and would prefer to do so live, but with my recent experience with your interpreters, I do not believe any of them will be qualified to interpret for me since I use ASL. I am a member of the deaf community in the Coachella Valley. There are many things which have come to our attention lately, and we need and demand change. Many of the items on my list are symptoms of a larger problem. The larger problem is the lack of information and caring regarding deaf education in the Desert Sands Unified School District. We no longer trust you to educate our deaf children. Here are the symptoms of the problems we have noticed, which have led us to believe you are incapable. The videos posted by the district of live meetings are not captioned and have no ASL interpreters. For example, special education meeting from the last night had no captions. Think on that. The community outreach director, assistant superintendent, and special education teachers were present, and not one of them thought a deaf person may want to see the video and learn what the district is doing in regard to instructing deaf children. Not only is this unacceptable, this is illegal. The IT department was blamed when the lack of captions was brought to the attention of the district. No person on that panel of educated individuals took responsibility. When news spread that the deaf would make comments, a deaf education teacher from the district sent an email to state that no one had the right to go to the district without first going to the teachers. She stated that she was shocked and would like to know why the teachers did not know, one, I was going to the board. Apparently the teachers fear speaking up and fear the deaf community. If they were doing right, wouldn't they want the deaf community to be involved? An interpreter from the district then began backstabbing other interpreters outside the district. This proves a lack of ethics among your interpreters. We have learned that SEE signs are being taught and therefore deaf students are deprived of language. American Sign Language is not being taught to deaf students. This means they are language deprived, they will not fit into the deaf community, and they will have difficulty attending college where ASL is the mode of communication because it is a language. SEE is not. Imperial Valley College uses ASL and refuses SEE signing. College of the Desert will use PSC, but the interpreters do not even know SEE well enough to use it for upper level classes. We demand you place these items on the agenda for your next meeting. We demand that you have an ASL interpreter present. We demand that you have outside consultants evaluate your deaf education program by those who do not work for your district nor the College of the Desert. Personally, I suggest 1 or 2 hearing people and a deaf person to be used as consultants. The reason is because a deaf can evaluate language, while the hearing can better evaluate interpreting. Also, due to hearing privilege, the hearing can work better with the board. I suggest a deaf person because you should not be doing anything about us without us. I'll continue with the comments, or these will be given to the board to the completion of the meeting. Second one by Patrick Veal. I am a member of the deaf community. There are many things which have come to our attention lately and we need and demand change. Many of the items on my list are symptoms of a larger problem. The larger problem is the lack of information and caring regarding deaf education in the Desert Sands Unified School District. We no longer trust you to educate our deaf children. Here are symptoms of the problems we have noticed which have led us to believe you are incapable. The videos posted by the district of live meetings are not captioned and have no ASL interpreters. For example, special education meeting from last night had no captions. Think on that. The community outreach director, assistant superintendent, and special ed teachers were present, and not one of them thought a deaf person may want to see the video and learn what the district is doing in regard to instructing deaf children. Not only is this unacceptable, this is illegal. The IT department was blamed when the lack of captions was brought to the attention of the district. No person on that panel of educated individuals took responsibility. When news spread that the deaf would make comments, a deaf education teacher from the district sent an email to state that no one had the right to go to the district without first going to the teachers. She said that she was shocked and would like to know why the teachers did not know I was going to the board. Apparently the teachers fear speaking up and fear the deaf community. If they were doing right, wouldn't they want the deaf community to be involved? An interpreter from the district then began backstabbing other interpreters. Outside the district, this proves a lack of ethics among your interpreters. We have learned that SEE signs are being taught and therefore deaf students are deprived of language. American Sign Language is not being taught to deaf students. This means they are language deprived and they will not fit into the deaf community, and they will have difficulty attending college where ASL is the mode of communication because it is a language. SEE is not. Imperial Valley College uses ASL and refuses SEE signing. College of the Desert will use PSE, but the interpreters do not even know SEE well enough to use it for upper level classes. We demand that you place these items on the agenda for your next meeting, and we demand that you have an ASL interpreter present, and we demand that you have an outside consultants evaluate your deaf education program by those who do not work for your district nor College of the Desert. Personally, I suggest 1 or 2 hearing people and a deaf person to be used as consultants. The reason is because the deaf can evaluate language while the hearing can better evaluate interpreting. Also, due to hearing privilege, the hearing can work better with the board. I suggest a deaf person because you should not be doing anything about us without us. For a list of names of people I suggest, you may respond to my email. I will not recommend myself. However, I recommend an audit of your deaf program be done throughout the semester, not to see which interpreters or teachers are good or bad, but to explain the need for ASL, make suggestions for changes in curriculum, match interpreters and students for linguistic styles, and inform the board of things like turning on captions, because apparently the people in your special education department with doctorate degrees in special education cannot recognize the need. And the third is by Brandon Barella on the same topic. Greetings. First, I am not against any of your teachers or interpreters, but I choose not to attend live tonight because I use ASL and believe the interpreters you hired to use SEE and therefore would not be qualified for me. I'm a fairly new member of the deaf community in the Coachella Valley. I have been here a little more than 1 year. I believe the deaf have been fairly complacent here. This is not a negative jab at them. It is just that people become comfortable, and creating change is hard. However, there is a problem with the education of our deaf children, and the people you have in charge of special education are just not correcting it. Here are the symptoms of a larger and systemic problem. 1, the videos posted by the district of live meetings are not captioned and have no ASL interpreters. For example, a special education meeting from last night had no captions. Think on that. The community outreach director, assistant superintendent, and special education teacher were present, and not one of them thought a deaf person may want to see the video and learn what the district is doing in regard to instructing deaf children. Not only is this unacceptable, this is illegal. The IT department was blamed when the lack of captions was brought to the attention of the district. No person on that panel of educated individuals took responsibility. We have learned that SEE signs are being taught, and therefore deaf students are deprived of language. American Sign Language is not being taught to deaf students. This means they are language deprived, they will not fit in the deaf community, they will have difficulty attending college where ASL is the mode of communication because it is a language. SEE is not. Imperial Valley College uses ASL and refuses SEE signing. College of the Desert will use PSE, but the interpreters do not even know SEE well enough to use it for upper level classes. We demand you place these items on the agenda for your next meeting. We demand you have an ASL interpreter present, not one regularly working for your district. I believe you should establish a task force to evaluate your deaf program and make recommendations for change. I believe that should be compromised of an education advocate who knows of deaf culture, about deaf culture, a deaf person, a person from the interpreting team at Imperial Valley College, as College of the Desert shares much of the same problems as this district. The parent of a deaf student in your district, a deaf adolescent in your district, and a representative from the California School for the Deaf. I recommend an audit of your deaf program be done throughout the semester, not to see which interpreters or teachers are good or bad, but to explain the need for ASL, make suggestions for changes in curriculum, match interpreters and students in linguistic styles, and inform the board of things like turning on captions, because apparently the people in your special education department with doctorate degrees in special education can't recognize the needs. And that concludes comments.
Thank you, Mr. Tomac. We'll move on to board and superintendent comments. Anna Conover.
Just want to wish everybody a good day tomorrow. The first day of school is exciting, but you know what? The teachers at the end of the day are going to just drop on their couch, tired, because that was me. So good luck to everybody. That's all.
Wendy Jonathan.
I want to say as well, good luck to all the teachers tomorrow and all the staff. As a teacher, a former teacher of over 25 years, I can't even imagine what tomorrow is going to be like for you and how overwhelming it may be. But you are incredible. We have some incredible staff and teachers, and I know we're going to be doing a great job, and I have the utmost faith in you. And I want to also thank, again, our assistant superintendents for all their hard work that they've been doing. Thank you, Jordan, for making sure that all the departments are running well, that we'll make sure that our schools our classrooms and our schools are safe, and for those teachers choosing to teach in the classroom, and making sure that the students are getting their meals from nutritional services, and all that you've been doing. And thank you to Kelly, all that professional development. I can only guess how much hours were spent with our teachers, and thank you so much for helping give them the tools for this unprecedented time for teaching. And the parent training as well. Thank you. Because I know not only are teachers nervous tomorrow, they're nervous tonight, but they're nervous about tomorrow, but we have parents as well. And on that note, I do want to do a shout out. Lauren Caddis Roberts and Debbie Geyer saw your classrooms that you're doing for tomorrow. Lauren Caddis Roberts is at home. She's got pictures on her social media. Very impressed. Her husband Zach helped her, and Debbie Geyer, she's got her classroom on campus all set up. So they're doing what they need to do. And Laura, I watched your, I didn't watch all of it, but I watched most of it yesterday, your presentation. One of the things that I got the most excited about was something that you said early on about California, about how now they're realizing that those students with special needs are going to need that small group instruction. They are going to need the one-on-one, and they're going to be letting us do that. And I know that that was a big concern and worry for a lot of our special needs teachers and parents. I want to say thank you for all you do again as well, Laura. I know that you've been working nonstop. This is challenging times, and I think you're an incredible assistant superintendent, and I'm proud to have you in our district. Donna, great job. We still have all of our teachers here. They're all going to be showing up tomorrow. I think you're doing a great job. And again, also, thank you so much for making sure that we have the stellar staff that we have, both teachers and staff. You've done an incredible job, and working out these MOUs for our two unions, because again, this is a totally different time. I was looking through the MOUs, looking and seeing how our teachers are going to still have those same instructional minutes. Obviously, things are going to be different, but very impressed with how you were able to work with our unions to make sure that everybody was happy and content and things were going to be going well. And of course, Superintendent Bailey, you've done an incredible job as well, making sure you've been leading the troop, so to speak. But before I finish, I want to take a moment, and I want to recognize one of our board members. On August 12th, they closed the filing period for those choosing to run as an incumbent for their district region in Riverside County. Board member Gary Tomac was not on the list of candidates for Desert Sands Unified School Board Trustee Area 3. And I realize that Mr. Tomac has approximately 4 months left in his term. And I'm going to get a little emotional. I can feel it already. But I want to express what a loss this is for our district. Before joining the school board, as a former teacher, I had certain perceptions of members of the board and a lot of perceptions about Gary Tomac. But after joining the board and working alongside each of the members, I realized certain strengths that each of us brings to the board. But in the 8 years I have been on this board, I cannot think of a more dedicated member of the board than Gary Tomac. He's passionate about education and seeing that all our students have the opportunity to succeed. He supports all the academic competitions in our district. He's been at every math field day, Battle of the Books, Spelling Bee, District Spelling, the District Spelling Bee, the District Science Fair, and Academic World Quest, and the Desert Sands Unified School District Film Festival, just to name a few. His love for math shows up by him showing in the classroom for Pi Day and Code Day, as well as the multitude of plays that he also attends from our high schools and middle schools. He's proud of our teachers. He's proud of our staff, and he's proud of our administration. And I can't even tell you the number of times he has complimented the family in Desert Sands and compared other districts to us and saying how we're so much better than they are. And a perfect example was today when he said, when he was talking to the people that were new and saying, he said, we have a great team here. We have the cream of the crop. This is not unusual, and this is something I've been hearing from him for 8 straight years. There's no one on the board that can decipher financials also better than Gary, other than Jordan Aquino. I think he might be able to do it a little better than Gary. I just want to say thank you, Gary. Thank you, Gary Tomac. Thank you for your dedication, for making this your life work during your term. You will be missed, and you are not replaceable. And that's it.
We'll follow that up with Mr. Tomac.
Thank you very much. Wendy, thank you very much for those wonderful comments, and it's been a good run for 20 years here with the district. And I just want to say, when we came to the district back in 1999, pretty much all of the schools were basically the same, named after ex-presidents or the communities that they were in. But we had great superintendents, great assistant superintendents, directors, staff, administration, technology folks, and it has just been just tremendous all the way through. We've added charter schools. We've added a brick and mortar homeschool. We've increased our program over at Amistad and added Horizon School on top of that. We've had schools with performing arts. We've had the IB program. It was the first K through 12 IB program in a public school district that you could go through kindergarten all the way through the high school without a disjointed program completely. There have been so many great things to hear and to see with the sports, with the arts, with the music. There's just so many folks that I've seen over the years that have retired and still come back and contribute to the district as well. So it's been a real treat for 20 years here on the board, and I'm welcoming the next people who come in behind me along this line. But thank you very much for the comments, Wendy. And along with that, I'd like to say congratulations, and I wish the teachers very well with this new teaching environment. You know, this is not what you signed up for when you became a teacher many years ago. And this is something new, and something new is always something difficult, but always with something new, there's some great things that come about by doing it. And in fact, colleges have been doing distance learning for more than 30 years. I've been part of that with Syracuse University many, many years ago, and I know it works, and it can be very beneficial and sometimes optimal for learning for a number of students as well. So with that, I want to thank Wendy and the colleagues here, our superintendent, for all the great work. In fact, over the years, I'd just like to say we've had different superintendents, and we've always picked them because of different reasons. And I'd like to just share that too tonight. You know, years ago when I came to the board, it was Doris Wilson. And once again, I said all the schools back then were named after their communities or ex-presidents. We started expanding school choice programs, and that was Doris's strength. Then we hired Sharon McGehee behind that, so we needed people to be able to train. We get all these new programs, and she was an expert in training teachers along the way and administrators. Then it came in that we needed for special ed, and Gary Rutherford was probably just a tremendous gentleman and knowledgeable about special ed programs. And now we're into the career tech world, and this is why we have our current superintendent, which was one of the considerations I looked at along with the board for many years. And the career tech programs have really expanded along. So everything has a purpose, everything has a reason, and it's really been a treat to be on the board for 20 years. Thank you so very much.
Okay, now I'll call on myself. So I think we talked about this last time, but I want to recognize again, Palm Desert High School had a 15% increase in their math CASP scores last year, and they were our only school, I believe, that finished the testing before COVID hit. So I want to pat on the back to Dennis Sink and his staff, and he recognizes that the excellent culture they have at Palm Desert High School right now is leading to increased results. And then I'd like to wish our teachers a good start to the school year. Back when I was teaching, I started 1 year without books, and I thought that was difficult, and I started 1 year without desks, and I thought that was difficult. I cannot imagine starting a school year without being able to see my students. I know this is going to be a difficult year, and I know we will need to be patient, and I know we're going to give it our best shot for the community. And so I appreciate the work our teachers are doing. I also want to recognize our CSEA. This is the time of the year that, you know, our bus drivers and our food service staff, and they're kind of the first people you meet when you're starting your school day as a student. And now our bus drivers are not going to be out there. And so we really, you know, we pick them up in the morning and we teach them all day long and we feed them and we take them home. And it's really going to be a hard road this year, but we are going to do our best. And then Wendy stole my thunder because I was going to talk about Tomac. And everything, a lot of things have been said, but what hasn't been said is it's been a light of Friday nights on the sidelines at all 4 of our high schools, watching high school football games. We've always done a lot, and you travel this district, and you do see Mr. Tomac everywhere. You'll see him in the classrooms during the day. You'll see him at sports events at night. You'll see him at drama events. He loves Shakespeare, and whenever one of our high school does a Shakespeare play, he'll be there. Maybe not just one night. Maybe he'll be there for all the nights. So I want to recognize you, and I thought I was going to be first for 20 outstanding years of serving our students and putting students first regardless of how other people responded to you. I know you always had the students' best interest in mind. And then I will be the first to congratulate Linda Porras and Wendy Jonathan, who put in their paperwork and had no opposition. So congratulations to both of you that aren't in the ether, I guess, right now, and look forward to serving at least the next 2 years with both of you. And that concludes my comments. So turning it over to President Porras.
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, I was able to attend the new teachers orientation with Mr. Bailey and Cabinet, and it was great to see all the smiling faces on Zoom since we weren't able to meet in person. But anyway, just again, I want to wish the teachers the very best for their first day of school tomorrow, and the students and parents and community. And I know it's going to be challenging, but I had a lot of questions, but Cabinet, you guys just answered all my questions about support. We have an awesome support system set up so that our teachers and our students will be successful this year. It's our first year of having a total online learning. until we can get back into the school when it's safe for everyone. And anyway, I'm looking forward to it. And I'm just so happy to see that you guys really have everything covered. I don't see anything that isn't covered. So anyway, you guys are just doing an outstanding job. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Kelly and Laura and Donna and Jordan and Mr. Bailey, you guys are just awesome. So we're just really blessed to have all of you. And I just have to say that I'm so happy that Laura's here, and prayers are answered that she is healthy and her daughter Sarah's healthy, and that's just a true love story. I just love it. I'm so glad that you're healthy and recovering perfectly. So, and yeah, I didn't think we were going to talk about Gary, but and I don't want to get emotional because I was like super upset when I kept looking for his name and his name wasn't on there, and I thought, oh. Anyway, because I honestly can't imagine Gary not being on the board. I've served with him for my past 4 years, and he has been everything but like a mentor and helpful to me. You know, when I first started, I didn't know what to do, and I'd ask him questions, and he was just always just so helpful. And everything that you said about him, Wendy, is true. I mean, I'm not going to repeat everything, but he's you're just an awesome guy, Gary, and it's just been so wonderful serving with you, and you are definitely going to be missed, and I'm so glad that we still have 4 more months with you. So anyway, but I miss going to the schools and seeing you there, and because we were able to do that, but anyway, but patience and grace is what we're going to need through this school year. And thanks so much. Sorry, I'm getting all emotional. Jeez. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so that concludes. Oh, Mr. Bailey, would you like to make some public comments?
Sure, I'll be a late entry.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you. I just want everyone to know, along the lines of support, as has been tradition, we'll have a team of management out going to each site tomorrow morning just to make sure everything's okay. If anyone, it's basically 2 questions. We don't want to interfere with the operation, but 2 questions. 1, do you need any immediate help? How can I help? And then second, if you need any assistance, here's my direct contact information, and they're out of there. I'm taking 3 schools myself, and I very much look forward to the first day of school. Ready or not, here they come. I just want to give a shout out to all staff, certificated and classified. Tomorrow's a big day. It's game day. We've been waiting for this. Anytime we deviate from the course we've known or the course we expect, we know it takes additional energy, and it's a little unsettling. So there is a lot of excitement in the air, different kind of butterflies this year, to say the least. But I would really want to thank staff for stepping up because this is just a very different way of doing what we've always done, right? So great shout out to staff. Hopefully some of them are going to bed soon and getting up early and eating their Wheaties for tomorrow. Lastly, we did conduct the ASB, the Student Board Member Orientation, virtually this past week as well. I want to give a shout out to Blanche, who assisted with that. So soon we'll be swearing in our student board members for the year, and that's pretty exciting as well. So that concludes my remarks. Thanks.
Just say one other note. When I was always the night before school started, I never could sleep. So it's always nervous. So, okay, I know there were some questions asked. We'll get those answers to you when we have the correct answers. We don't want to fire off. So now we'll move on to general function business services. We'll start off with our 18.1, which is a resolution number 07-2020-2021, resolution of the Board of Education of Desert Sands Unified School District approving a debt issuance and management policy in accordance with Senate Bill number 1029. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
By Mr. Tomac. Is there a second? By Ms. Conover. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Okay, hearing none, this is a roll call vote. Anna Conover?
Aye.
Wendy Jonathan?
Aye.
Gary Tomac?
Aye.
Donald Griffith says aye. Linda Porras?
Aye.
Okay, that will carry 5-0. Then we have general function business services 18.2 to 18.7. Is there a motion to take these individually or as a group?
Move approval of items 18.2 through 18.7 as listed on tonight's agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Wendy Jonathan.
Seconded by Wendy Jonathan. Is there any discussion on 18.2 to 18.7? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, that carries 5-0. Okay, moving on to general function education services. We have 19.1 to 19.13. Is there a motion to take these individually, or we would like to take these as a group?
Move approval of items 19.1 through 19.13 as listed in tonight's agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Linda Porras.
Too late, Anna Conover got you.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, guys.
Is there any discussion on 19.1 to 19.13?
Yeah, I would just like to pull out one on 19.12, the WEB, where everyone belongs, as a permanent course. I just think that is an awesome, awesome course to have for all incoming middle school students to help them adjust to middle school. I just think it's a great program to help our students feel safe and secure going into the next phase of their education. And it's a great opportunity for our 8th graders to mentor to them. So anyway, I'm just really happy to see that.
Any more comments? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, those carry 5-0. Next, general function personnel services 20.1 to 20.11. Is there a motion? This is not where we had the amendment, right? That was 24 something. Yeah, I don't think it's this one. Is there a motion to take 21.1 to 21.11 as a group, or would we like to take these individually?
I move to take them as a group. Wendy Jonathan.
Okay, moved by Wendy Jonathan to take as a group. Is there a second?
Linda Porras.
Is that Linda Porras with a second? Is there a discussion on any of the items 20.1 to 20.11?
I just want to make a comment on the MOU with DSTA. I'm really happy to see that, one, it was ratified, and that the teachers do have the option of working at home or from their classrooms. And it's not a either or. It's, I can work from my classroom a couple of days, I can work at home. So I'm glad to see that.
Any other
I wanted to say as well, I think it's wonderful how we both came together, both the district and the teachers union, to make sure that this was a really good solution for everybody concerned. And I'm very pleased with how it came out. So thank you to all. And same with DSCA, I have to give them kudos as well. They've been working exceptionally hard during the summer and continue on, I know, with the school year. So we're very blessed with two great organizations, two unions. So thank you so much.
Any other discussion?
I just want to say I agree. I think it's awesome that we have come to an agreement for the best case scenario for our teachers so that they can do their best and in this difficult time. So I'm really happy that we came to agreement with them that's the best for them.
Okay, no more further comments. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. Next, we have general function student support services. We have 4 items, 21.1 to 21.4. Is there a motion to take these as a group, or would like to take these individually?
Move approval items 21.1 through 21.4 under general function student support services.
Okay, motion by Mr. Tomac to take as a group. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Anna Conover. Any discussion on any of these 4 items? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. Okay, we have general function superintendent, which there aren't any. Then we have the consent items on student matters. Mr. Bailey?
Yes, sir, thank you. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 items. Under closed session, agenda item 3.1, tonight in closed session, the board took action to approve the following student matters. Item 23.1, reinstate student, number 18/19-56. Item 23.2, reinstate student, number 19/20-25. Item 23.3, reinstate student, number 19/20-36. And lastly, item 23.4, reinstate student, number 19/20-86. All these items were approved on a motion by Mr. Tomac, seconded by Mrs. Conover. The motion carried 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to consent items, business services, 24.1 to 24.9. Is there a motion to take these together, or would we like to take them individually?
Move approval of consent items listed under business services this evening.
Okay, by Mr. Tomac. Is there a second?
Second, Linda Porras.
Second by Linda Porras. Any discussion on any of these 9 items? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. Moving on to section 25, consent items, ed services. We have 13 items, 25.1 to 25.13. Is there a motion to take these items together, or would like to take them individually?
Move approval of consent items under educational services 25.1 through 25.13 is listed under tonight's agenda.
Okay, that's been moved by Gary Tomac. Is there a second?
Second.
By Anna Conover. Any discussion on any of these 13 items? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. Can't lick my fingers, so here we go. Okay. Consent items, personnel services. We have 1 item. It's an independent contract agreement with Indio Emergency Medical Group. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
By Anna Conover. Is there a second?
Second.
By Gary Tomac. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That carries 5-0. Consent item, student support services. This is the one where we had a slight amendment to 2710 where we got some additional information, correct? Or we got a
That's correct.
insurance?
Liability insurance, $5 million cap.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve consent item, student support services 27.1 to 27.12 with the amendment to 27.10?
Approval of consent items under student support services 27.1 through 27.10 is listed under tonight's agenda. 12, I'm sorry.
With the change to 10.
Change of 10.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second. Yes, that's me.
Any discussion on any of these 12 items?
I wanted to ask, would that change, Mr. Bailey, the $5 million, that change the price?
No, I do not believe there are any other changes. Laura Fisher, can you confirm there are no other changes?
That was the only change. It did not change the price.
Thank you.
Other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. Consent items, Superintendent, there aren't any. Personnel action certificated, is there a motion to approve the certificated items? Oh,
This is
Oh,
where
okay.
I would like to
so we have a
step in
call
and-
out from Dr. Salazar.
Yes. Under personnel actions, under 29.1, agenda item number 13 is on page 2, and personnel is pleased to recommend the appointment of Kristen Wood as the coordinator of local control and accountability plan, strategy, and performance.
Okay, with that additional information, is there a motion to approve the certificated personnel items?
So moved.
By Anna Conover. Is there a second?
Second, Linda Porras.
Second by Linda Porras. Would anybody like to make any comments?
Yes, sir. I'd like to acknowledge 7 individuals here tonight that have really been a gem. A number of them I've known personally over the years here in the district that have made it to retirement. Catherine Bray from Carter Elementary with 23 years of service. Brian Collins, who I've known for many, many years here. He's been 25 years, Desert Ridge and Glen Middle School. Always there to greet me when I come into the visit the schools as well. Sheila Cosgrove, Indio High School, 19 years of service. Kelly Dahl, Palm Desert High School, 31 years of service. Lorenzo Delgado from La Quinta High School, 6 years of service. Melissa Miza from Special Education, and, oh, I'm sorry, that one is not one, just those two. I'm sorry, John Mook from Hoover Elementary, 14 years of service, and Jane Smith, Jefferson Middle School, 17 years. Been there a lot of times at Jefferson, so congratulations to all of those who have made it to the finish line. I hope they have a very wonderful retirement.
Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. Is there a motion to approve the personnel action items for classified?
So moved.
By Anna Conover. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Tomac. Is there any discussion for these 3 people?
I would like to recognize 3 other individuals here from our classified staff that are moving into the retirement years. Lourdes Carranza, Special Education, retirement after 25 years of service as an office specialist and bilingual. Dolores Miza, Early Childhood Education, retirement. Here's a number, 42 years as a paraeducator. Congratulations, and I hope she has a very wonderful time in the leisure years. And Evangelina Valenzuela, Desert Ridge Academy, 24 years of service as a nutrition service assistant. Congratulations to each one of those as well.
I would just also, 42 years makes the 24 and 25 look like short timers. And that is a long time. We're losing a lot with that group. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. Call out of closed session actions, Mr. Bailey.
Yes, sir. I have one item. Pertains to item 3.2 on the closed session agenda. Tonight in closed session, the board took action to reject claim number 21-L-001. This was on a motion by Mr. Griffith, seconded by Mrs. Conover, and the motion carried 5-0. And that concludes my remarks.
Okay, suggestion for future agendas that receive at least 3 votes. Anna Conover. None? Wendy Jonathan.
I'd just like to ask if we can get just a presentation so we have a better understanding of our deaf and hard of hearing program. If we could get a presentation one of our future board meetings to get a grasp of what is going on in our district and have a better understanding of it.
Okay, I would agree. And so Linda, did you say you agreed?
Yes.
So that's 3 things. So we'll look into that. Anything else, Mrs. Jonathan?
Nope, all is good. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Tomac.
Nothing for that, but I just want to add one more comment for tonight at this time, and I want to congratulate Kelly May and all of the technology staff. you look across the country, there are so many school districts that are just unprepared for this distance learning. Either the students don't have the tablets, they don't have the connectivity. Some reasons they're just not prepared, and so many kids are just going to be going out without a good education. And congratulations to Kelly and her staff in technology to make sure that the technology is available for student learning to continue even in these trying times.
I have no call-outs. Linda Porras.
No, I have none. Thank you.
Announcements, Mr. Bailey.
School starts tomorrow.
All right, let's rock and roll on. Let's get that done. We are going to reconvene to close session to finish up on a couple of items. So right now we are going to back into recess to go into closed session.